It was a sweltering afternoon in Manhattan, New York. Traffic moved slowly, and heat seemed to rise off the pavement around a major convention center. A black woman in her 30s crossed the street confidently, dressed in business attire. She carried a laptop bag, walked with determination, and her eyes held a depth that spoke of lived experience. Her name was Sarah Jones. At first glance, she might have seemed like an ordinary woman, but she was anything but. Sarah was a covert CIA agent, an expert in field operations who had executed missions in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. But that day, she wasn't on a mission. She was returning from a meeting where strategies for future intelligence interventions had been discussed. What she didn't know was that her most dangerous mission was about to begin right in her own country. A police SUV slowly pulled up to the curb beside her. Inside were two white officers, David Harris and Kevin Stone, both with past accusations of racial discrimination, but consistently protected by the department. "Hey, David, look at that black woman. She looks like a real professional," Kevin said sarcastically. "Wonder what's in that bag." "Terrorists are getting smart," David replied, suddenly switching on the siren for no reason. They ordered Sarah to stop. She remained calm, but the situation quickly escalated. "Ma'am, you're suspicious. We need to check your bag," David said. Sarah politely asked, "Officer, may I know the reason why?" Kevin yelled, "When the police give an order, you don't ask questions, you obey." Sarah maintained control and calmly continued to ask, "What have I done? Why are you treating me this way? Please explain it to me." But she received only silence and brutality. David, furious, shoved her hard. Kevin snatched the bag from her hand and threw it to the ground. Then, without cause, warrant, or respect, he tore her shirt. A nearby crowd began to protest, shouting. Indignant bystanders approached, surrounding the officers. "Let her go," someone yelled. "She has rights," another added. The group grew, forcing the two police officers to back away. Finally, they got into their SUV and sped off as the atmosphere became dangerously tense. Sarah, having recovered, immediately went to the nearest police station and filed a complaint for humiliation, violence, and illegal assault. But even there, she was mocked and her request was dismissed with arrogance. The officers ignored her pain as if it were worthless. The report was eventually filed, but no justice breathed life into that document. The following morning, a secret meeting was taking place at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. Director Valerie Adams, the agency's director and Sarah's personal mentor, watched the videos of the assault, her face stern and her eyes filled with rage. "We can't even protect our own agents in our own country. This is a national security problem," she declared. An officer intervened, "But Sarah is undercover. If this story comes out, details of her missions could emerge." But Valerie stood up. "So, we must sacrifice her, an agent who has given her life for us? No, the time has come for the country to understand how rotten the system is." Weeks later, the trial began under maximum security at the federal courthouse in New York. A lawsuit had been filed against the two officers, David Harris and Kevin Stone, for their brutal behavior toward Mela, the code name used to protect her real identity. Outside the courthouse, thousands of people gathered, Sarah's supporters, human rights activists, and citizens ready to defend justice. But inside the courtroom, Sarah still didn't reveal her true identity. She walked in with her head held high, calm, and determined. No badge, no CIA insignia, just a black woman demanding dignity and truth. Standing strongly against brutality, she made an impact on everyone, without yet showing who she truly was. Meanwhile, David and Kevin were the defendants, falsely repentant. Their lawyer argued they had acted on founded suspicion and therefore their actions were legal. Then, suddenly, Director Valerie Adams Craig entered the courtroom. Her presence completely changed the perspective. "Your Honor, I am Director Valerie Adams Craig of the CIA. I wish to inform the court that Sarah Jones is not just an ordinary citizen, but a senior agent of ours committed daily to the security and well-being of the country." A long silence followed. The judge turned pale. "Are you saying this case involved a CIA agent?" he stammered. "Exactly," Valerie replied. "Sarah concealed her identity to protect her mission. Now that everything is public, we demand transparency and legal protection. This revelation altered the course of the trial. Outside, Sarah's supporters applauded. This was no longer just about racial injustice, but about national integrity, not just about violence, but about systematic distortions at the heart of institutions. Miss Jones, the judge invited her, "Please tell us what happened that day." Sarah took a deep breath. "I served my country from Afghanistan to the Sahel. My missions were so secret that many times my mother didn't even know if I was alive. Yet that day on the streets of my own nation, I was just another black woman, considered suspicious, stripped of my dignity, thrown to the ground. I only asked, 'Why are you doing this to me?' And I received a shove and a torn shirt, without a warrant, without cause. If those people hadn't intervened, I wouldn't be here today." She paused, then, with a harsher voice, she said, "If I had been a white woman, would the same thing have happened?" Total silence. The judge lowered his gaze. The defense attorney stood up. "Are you linking the incident to racism?" Sarah looked him in the eyes. "I'm not linking it. The system already has. If suspicion is enough to stop someone, why is it always directed at black professionals?" Her testimony shook the entire court. Everyone wondered what would happen next. "This case," the judge finally said, "is not just about a single incident. It's a test of our entire system. We must understand if the police are truly impartial." During the trial, forensic evidence and unequivocal surveillance footage were presented. Sarah had been stopped without any justification. Her strength inspired new hope in the courtroom. While outside, the protesters grew in number, not just demanding justice for her, but calling for radical change in the system. Sarah unveiled her entire life and career to the world, demonstrating how a black woman could serve her country only to be denied justice within it. When the sentence arrived, the court issued a historic verdict. David Harris and Kevin Stone were guilty of abuse of power, violation of civil rights, and blatant racial discrimination. They were both fired, an unprecedented decision for such serious crimes. But this was not just a triumph for Sarah Jones. It was a victory for all those fighting systemic injustice and racism. The message was clear. No one is above the law, and no one deserves different privileges than others. And if this battle belonged to Sarah, her story reminded everyone that no wall can withstand the truth and courage. And so this story concludes. Thank you for watching it until the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, don't hesitate to like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more fascinating stories. Have a great day.